Well, welcome back, Wolfpack. Verlis here, and this is how to use Typhlosion in Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. So what makes Typhlosion compelling? Well, it gets access to one of the strongest moves in the game with Eruption. 150 base power as long as it is at full health, and it's one of the few Pokemon that actually gets access to it. You look at it, Camerupt, Entei, Torkoal, Typhlosion, and then Groudon and National Dex stuff. But the thing is, it's a fast Pokemon that gets access to it, and then comparing to legendary Pokemon like Entei, it is the highest special attacker. So it kind of has everything it wants. Like Torkoal can't really use it, Camerupt doesn't want it either. So yeah, like Typhlosion with this 100 speed can actually outspeed an opponent, retain that damage, and then make it work on the 109 special attack. The problem is, you kind of have to lock yourself into it. So Choice Scarf is going to give you crazy outspeeds, but then you're stuck on the Eruption. Dragon, Fire, Rock, and Water are going to resist your Eruption, and there's also abilities like Flash Fire that make you immune to Fire-type moves, so that's going to be an immunity on pretty much the only thing Typhlosion can do, and then Rock and Water types are going to hit you for super effective damage since you are a pure Fire typing. Dragon gets spooky, a lot of powerful Dragon-type Pokemon. Water, also just a common, strong typing. And then you go against the Tyranitar and you really don't stand a chance. So that's the thing, like you just nuke everything neutrally, but you can also get resisted and then stuffed out or revenged or something, so it doesn't go that great. After that, you have Extra Sensory, but then we're talking about an 80 base power, non-stab, 109 special attack hit, even super effective, that might not find some KOs. So what do? And then you have Burn Up. Burn Up is mostly a last-ditch effort because let's say you take a hit, your Eruption's now not worth anything, you find a safe switch out for the Typhlosion, and then you bring it back in later. Well, Eruption's going to have like 30 base power if you're low, so Burn Up is 130. Hopefully that just KOs the thing in front of you, and then you figure out what to do from there. Last move, Focus Miss. It's not a pretty place to be. I've tried to consider like physical options on the Typhlosion because you can do something like a Naive Nature, otherwise Timid if you don't have physical. But like Naive Nature allows for an Earthquake, allows for a Brick Break, maybe a Rock Slide. What does the damage calculation say about that? Not this damage calculation, this one, because we have a Blissey. So Focus Blast, with its 30% chance to miss, going to be slightly more damage than the Brick Break. Just kind of like showing, yeah, Blissey, tanky, physical, special, something, shenanigans. Focus Blast versus the full health Eruption, though. So yeah, trying to physically coverage out on the Typhlosion doesn't seem like it does much of anything. This is going to be a very specific one-dimensional Pokemon that has incredible power behind it. We have the Flash Fire. Pokemon's Fire-type attacks do 1.5 times damage if hit by a Fire-type move. So you want to have a Pokemon that's weak to Fire on your team, bait it out, switch in Typhlosion, get the Flash Fire, and now you are looking very scary. As for speed tiers, what about a modest nature? That way you just get damage, and really, even resisted hits are going to be hard for the opponent to deal with. It kind of works. The speed tiers do get a little weird. So here we have a neutral, scarfed, 100 base power Pokemon. This allows us to outspeed a lot. 86 positive Scarf, so anything below that, that means +1 Gyarados gets outsped, +1 80 base speed Pokemon get outsped, even the Rotom gets outsped. Now, if we're talking about Gyarados, you're hitting it with an Eruption, not crazy, but the Modest is some decent damage to add into that. However, the thing to note is that this puts you behind positive nature 90 speed Pokemon with a 50% boost, so one stage or a Scarf or something. So Scarf, Roserade, and Lucario then find the outspeeds. Also, like weird +2 agility past 65. So if you have that 100 beneficial nature, it moves you up quite a bit of speed tiers. The game is weird. Also, yeah, like positive 95s, there's a couple of those. Doesn't really seem like those are going to be Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl Pokemon, but Arcanine, Scarf for +1, nah, you don't have to worry about that for the Typhlosion. But this kind of shows like, yeah, you can get away with the Modest, but some weird things might get in your way, and it's, I don't know, like Scarf is the way to go. Also, you can just run a Choice Specs Typhlosion with the Timid nature, and 100 base speed is just a good speed tier. Now you get outsped by quite a bit, but if you're just kind of playing this as like a wall-breaking Pokemon or anything under 100 no shenanigans dies, this is how you accomplish it. And then Typhlosion is going to be pretty strong that way. Again, like, I don't even know what to put here. There's no hidden power, so it's not like you have the hidden power grass and then you take out water-type Pokemon or something. And then because of the choice item, it also makes it kind of weird. Like, choice Scarf with the Will-O-Wisp, that way you outspeed the Gyarados, burn it, go down anyways, but hey, at least Gyarados doesn't beat you now. I don't know. Now, the Will-O-Wisp wouldn't be for the Specs set, that if you're running Specs, yeah, you find the Focus Blast, because it's either a 30% chance you lose or a 100% chance you lose by not carrying the Focus Blast, so maybe that's a thing. But if you're Scarfed, then maybe the Will-O-Wisp is the tech over a physical move, because at least it does something. After that, we can also look into some other ideas, because, yeah, that Timid speed is usable. So 100 speed, Endure, Blaze, Flamethrower, Patea Berry. So if we're going for the +1, you know, 50% special attack right there on the Flamethrower and the extra sensory. So the extra sensory getting a little stronger as well, if needed. The Flamethrower damage doesn't quite get up to the Eruption, but the Patea Berry helps. And then Blaze will actually put you past that. So that's where the numbers also kind of get weird. I'm like trying to do the math, but that's why we have damage calculations, so I guess I need to pull those up. So if we're trying to compare this to a Choice Specs Typhlosion, because that would be the same speed on the +0 Timid nature, Eruption is going to be 102% on a Pokemon like Silvally. So anything less tanky and less invested than this just gets wiped out. I wanted to see what this does to a Clefable, because Clefable is mostly going to be max hit points, max defense, defensive nature, and it's kind of a KO, so we don't have anything definitive there. Comparing back to the Silvally, so this is going to be +1 on the Patea Berry, but also we're going to have the extra 50% from the Blaze using Flamethrower instead of the Eruption, and it's 10% less damage. But again, anything under the Silvally just gets KO'd, so not 95. 95, also Silvally doesn't exist, we just kind of use it as some kind of like damage hold. That Flamethrower now becomes a KO. Alright, the Focus Blast gets stronger, the extra sensory gets stronger. What are we showing here on the moveset? Potential reversal. So like the reversal would just be for Blissey exclusively. So it's not enough to KO the Blissey, but it is stronger than Focus Blast, but you need to be at 1 hit points because of the Endure. Again, just kind of like throwing out options instead of the Focus Miss. This is just kind of like, it also gives you freedom, that you're not locked into an Eruption, you're not forced to switch out the second it doesn't get, like the opponent doesn't get KO'd and you take damage. So this also, like this has value, like is 10% less damage while also still KOing pretty much any non-tank Pokemon in the neutral. Is that worth the ability to have freedom to then switch around your moves and then have something else to kind of go for? But also, when this expires, like, you can't switch this out and then come back in because you lose the Patea Berry, but the Blaze still stays active. So you could have some cleanup potential, but you're only 100 speed, so you need to play around, like, removing the opponent's sweepers. But now we can take a few steps back and look at just Choice Scarf Modest. I think this is going to be the most reliable and consistent moveset on the Typhlosion. The way that Pokemon works is that no matter what moveset you pick, it's the wrong one for the team that you're going up against, and then you wish you had the other one. So like Specs Timid is going to blow things up, but then you get outsped and sped crept somehow and it's over. Scarf Timid, I think it's kind of when you start getting into paranoid situations, unless the meta starts speeding up. But I don't think it's going to work that way. I think you want the Modest. So you just outspeed sweepers, and they get the most damage against them because of that, so that's going to be a pretty good place to be. And that brings us to the Jolteon damage calculation, where we can see Modest, Flash Fire, inactive, and then Choice Scarf is solid chance to KO. And that's not a great place to be, and that's another thing about Typhlosion. If you have the Scarf, you're kind of giving up too much damage. Because the 109, even with the craziness of the Eruption, any natural special defense makes it kind of unreliable. Now you outspeed the Jolteon, and you really make it hurt. But that's going to be the result right there. Also looking at some other Pokemon like the Gengar, you do end up picking up the Gengar because it's 60-75. And this is probably the best case for Modest because we have the Alakazam where we just barely get the guaranteed KO at level 50, and we have the outspeed because of the Scarf, and everything else just kind of lines up because of that Modest nature. Now, one thing taken into consideration is that if you get your Flash Fire rolling, then you're in a great spot and you're just doing 50% more damage, so that opens up the potential KOs massively. I don't know, and then everything else kind of gets weird. Like, let's look at a random Gyarados, depending on, like, how much bulk or whatever is going on with the Gyarados. Like, you can still hurt things. And at some point, you still want to hurt things. So the Flash Fire is going to be strong with that. Outside of it, like, maybe that damage ends up mattering at some point, because once the Gyarados gets running, the best you can do is, like, hope to chip it down or find some kind of opportunity. Also, it's going to be, like, Eruption, Dragon Dance, Eruption. So you're getting 2 instances of this. If the Flash Fire's up, then you actually find that KO. If not, I mean, he's hurting. He's got very little health left, and then you get one shot by the +2 waterfall or the +1 waterfall. And even if you survive somehow, the Eruption then becomes worthless. So yeah, it just kind of like shows the Eruption. You're playing on a knife's edge. If Typhlosion just starts taking damage, having a bad day. Also, it comes down to, like, nature shenanigans. Naive or hasty if you have any random physical splashed in for that, like, +1 attack right there. If not, do whatever. The EVs are weird. The Pokemon's weird. The limiting moveset doesn't help you out. And, yeah. And the Choice Scarf Rock Slide looks kind of funny on the Gyarados. I mean, maybe you get a flinch. And, that, like, yeah, the ideal scenario for this would be Rock Slide, Dragon Dance, Rock Slide, Flinch, Rock Slide, KO. But that's if Intimidate isn't in play, because, yeah, then that just happens. So that's, like, the weird thing. As we try to figure out, like, maybe a way of physically sneaking in some Typhlosion for when your Eruption fails, it just doesn't work. Like, Eruption is way too much damage because of the stab and the base power and the special attack versus the physical. So even a super effective physical hit in a more ideal situation isn't as good as a resisted full damage Eruption. You can still run it, though. Like, yeah, if you're just one of those things where, like, man, if I just had a Fire-type Pokemon to clean this game up, and then I build my team a little bit more with that consideration, Typhlosion could be what you want. I think it will excel in a very hyper-offensive meta, that if people go into, like, the Roar Skarmory or something, like, Skarmbliss does mess up Typhlosion, because as we saw, those damage calculations aren't super favorable. But if people get really fearful of anti-setup, the Typhlosion kind of covers against frail sweepers and really puts a lot of damage pressure onto anti-setup, so you can use that to just get some momentum inside a game. Maybe you sweep late with it, maybe you secure some really strong momentum early, and then you can play around the rest of your team with it. So, oh yeah, and last second meme idea while I was editing the video, we could go for the Rock Tomb, because that would be funny if, like, Dragon Dance on the Gyarados, but you Rock Tomb it, and then it's slower, and then you're still at, like, 1 hit point, blazed, flamethrower for some kind of damage. You know, like, the Rock Tomb might just open that thing up, or it's like, oh, I'm going to get KO'd anyways, might as well slow it down, or maybe it does kind of convert towards, like, Rock Tomb, Sash breaking on a setup Pokemon, and then you can KO on the flamethrower or something anyways. It might. You know, it's like, it's just, you play for those 1%. That's why I have Thunder Wave on my Togekiss. 0.1% win rate increase. Better than nothing. Not like a solo hard carry Pokemon can stumble if the Eruption goes wrong, but when things go right, they go really, like, it becomes unstoppably right for the Typhlosion. So, hope you guys enjoy the video. Hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.